The Taliban takeover in Afghanistan is most probably the worst political outcome for women and girls in the country, and it is already leading to a devastating humanitarian situation. After 2 decades of activism and progress in rebuilding educational institutions and strengthening civil society, as well as supporting women-led or owned businesses, Afghan women stand to lose their most basic rights and freedoms under Taliban rule. But this is not surprising. Even when the Taliban was at the negotiating table with the Afghan government, there were targeted attacks against women, including members of the Afghan negotiations team. There were 4 women on that team, and one of them, Fawzia Kufi, was targeted. Many other women leaders in civil society, journalists, women entrepreneurs were also targeted. But while the Taliban see them as threats, they stand to be Afghanistan's hope. They are educated, brave, and determined to continue the work for other Afghan girls and women. To achieve this, they also have to be protected and supported. In the past few months, as the Taliban were making gains across Afghanistan, a coalition of women's groups that includes Vital Voices, the Georgetown University's Institute for Women, Peace and Security, Women for Women International, as well as other trusted humanitarian organizations all over the world, have been working around the clock to meet the critical needs of the most at-risk Afghan women leaders, helping them find a safe refuge and supporting them and ensuring their safety. We're very fortunate today to be speaking with 2 women trailblazers, Hilai Barakzai, who worked as a consultant for a private innovation company, an American company. Hilai managed to leave Afghanistan. Her family is still in Afghanistan. We will also be speaking with Marwa Dashti, who aspires to become a journalist, just like her father, who was very tragically killed in September in a clash against the Taliban. Fahim Dashti, her father, was a veteran leader of the Afghanistan National Journalism Union and fought for the freedom of the press and the freedom of expression. It's truly a pleasure to connect with both of you today. Thank you so much for all the work that you do, but for everything that you stand for as well. I'm going to start with you to just ask you how you feel about what has transpired so far since the US withdrawal and the Taliban takeover.
It's been a nightmare. I cannot describe it any other way. It's so surreal. I still can't believe it's real. I mean, how can our home, the home we worked to build for 20 years, just get destroyed in a matter of 2 weeks, in the span of 2 weeks? It's crazy. It's just a nightmare. I just keep hoping that I wake up and it's all a dream.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that. So tell us a little bit more about your life in Afghanistan before this happened.
It was hard. It wasn't the easiest. I mean, we had the bomb blast and, well, the living situation for women were not as easy as it is in other countries, but it was still our home. And with all the corruption, with everything, we still made so much progress. Women were allowed to go to school, they were allowed to work on the government, they were allowed to become leaders. And now my friends, I'm here, I have opportunities, but my friends who are left behind, I was a high schooler, they aren't allowed to go to school anymore. The schools got canceled. Now my aunt was a professor in Kabul University, she can't go to work anymore. We lost our everything, we lost our livelihoods, we lost our lives, we lost everything, our home.
Yeah, this is truly very tragic. And as we hear from you, and we've heard from other women as well, women and girls are basically losing the most basic freedoms. I want to turn to you, Marwa, to talk about your journey so far. I know you want to follow your father's footsteps and become a journalist. how do you feel about everything that's happened? This must be a very difficult time for you, particularly after the loss of your father. Tell us about, how you see yourself right now and how you can move forward.
It's been hard. It hasn't been easy. My father was the greatest dad ever. I know everyone must say that about their dads, that they're the greatest, but my dad really was the greatest. But he fought 30 years for freedom, for freedom of speech, and he fought till his last breath. And me and my brothers can't just let that go. We have to keep fighting. Even if we're devastated, we are devastated, but we cannot stop fighting because it's not just about us, it's about 36 million people. And half of that being women. I want to stand for them. I've always been a feminist, and all this happening has just made that feeling stronger.
And you're truly Afghanistan's hope, that regardless of what's happening, you want to continue to fight forward. So thank you for your bravery and for your courage.
Thank you.
So Hilai, I wanna turn to you to also tell us about how you feel about what's transpired so far, and tell us about what your plans are moving forward.
Yeah, actually, it was really difficult for me too, because I was a girl in Afghanistan. I work a lot with foreign organization, and I always try to be independent and a free woman and lady in Afghanistan to do something for my country. I had before this a lot of chance to go and live in other country, but I choose my country because I wanted to work for my country, for women, for like men and children, to be free, to have a perfect country like other countries. I work a lot, but suddenly in just 2 weeks, we lost everything, and I was completely in home, and I was not allowed to go outside. On that days, I just feel everything is done and finished, and I can do anything, and I should be in home, and I lost my freedom. It was so difficult for me to accept this, because I was that person always fight for my life, for my freedom, to be to can inspire other women to come out and work. I work with a lot of like very danger organization in Afghanistan, and I always proud about this because I could do this. But after Taliban, it was really like sad for me, and it's not acceptable for me. But I find the chance, and I could come to out of Afghanistan. When I came out, I said, okay, you have this chance, so you should start again. You should start to fight and work for your people and also your country. That's why I became a coordinator or leader for my group in here. And also I'm trying, and I'm working with 2 other organizations with evacuation, and I'm trying to take my people, their life is really in danger. Yeah. So I'm trying to take them out. But and for my future, I have planned to still working for my country, and maybe I will go back to Afghanistan, because it's okay. We are trying to take out the people, but it's not the way. We have 36 million people in Afghanistan. Correct. Still, the lady, the woman's there in home, they need support. We should work with them. It's not the way all people come out. The people they are educated, they have knowledge, they have something to do with, they're coming out. So what about my other people, my country? Some people should be there and work and fight for them. So that's why still I want to work and fight for my country.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, and for your commitment to doing so, regardless of what happened. I mean, you said that, you cannot basically evacuate the entire country. So yeah, how can you support groups on the ground? It is very dangerous, as both of you know. Is it a matter of just time so that more groups can start to organize better? Do you think there's an there's a channel open that over time the Taliban will slowly maybe allow girls to go to school or allow women to work. What are your thoughts on this?
Actually, it will take too much time till we can achieve about these things, but still we are like working, especially the people they are working like Ahmad Masood, they're trying to work, and they already made some home school for children to go and continue their study in different cities, so we can support them. I love it, and I'm trying to support these type of people. They are working for Afghanistan. Until we could do something bigger, we should start fighting with Taliban. We not like we can fight like with the gun or these things. No, we should negotiate with them. We should go in the ground and talk with them. It's not there like you can continue if you wanna be in Afghanistan. You can't stop women. It's not possible. The women in Afghanistan, they are not the ladies 20 years ago. They need to study. They need to be in the society.
Yeah,
so
they're unstoppable.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we are working on it.
Marwa, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's just, I think it's a shame to all of humanity where there's a part of the world people are thinking about going to Mars or creating artificial intelligence, and then there's a whole country in which girls aren't even allowed to go to school.
Yeah.
I mean, how are we going to justify that? That's not justice. Yeah. And I mean, even though everything that the Taliban have done, even though they took my dad from me, but if they do agree to have peace with us and to let us work and continue as we had, then I'd be more than happy to go back if it would save so many people, if it would save so many lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Why do you think the Taliban's first target are girls and women?
Actually, it's a question for us too. Maybe sometimes I am thinking maybe they're afraid about the power the lady they have. They know in this 20 years ago, we can see in Afghanistan, we have a lot of MPs, other ladies, they're working in government, they're working with foreign country embassies, and they're in the society and they work a lot. So I don't know why they're afraid about the woman. Maybe they know we have a very power. That's why maybe they're afraid. It's a really a question for us. Why? Because we don't want anything else or something completely different. We are also Muslim. We are also know about our culture. We are just, absolutely, we want to be free. We want to live. We want to work. We want to support our men and make our country. We don't want anything else. But still, they are not agree with this.
Absolutely. And I'm, originally from Jordan. I'm also Muslim, and I grew up learning that education is an equal opportunity for everybody. So it's certainly un-Islamic to forbid women and girls from basically just their basic right to education. What do we need to know to better understand developments in Afghanistan? How can governments help? How can businesses help worldwide? Civil society groups, particularly women's groups, as we've seen with this initiative, are already coming together. They are raising funds, and they're really, doing their best to protect women at risk. But what can governments do? What can the private sector do, particularly in the West?
The first thing is go on the grounds and start negotiating, because and women's rights is unnegotiable. They have to give us our rights. And maybe until then, we live in a generation where we have access to everything, to our phones. online schools are not that hard to get to
Absolutely.
create. We can have online schools and we can have homeschools. I mean, it's not that hard if we just try. Until we negotiate, we can get online schools.
That's a really good idea, because as we've seen during the pandemic with school closures, and basically e-learning platforms have been set up. And so the future of education is looking to move online anyway. So this is a fantastic idea to ensure that that girls and women in Afghanistan continue their educational journeys. Hilai, what do you think about what governments in the private sector should do to help support you?
Actually, it's not just about like school and education. Our people, the ladies, they need the financial support. They need to work, especially all those ladies. Before they work in the government and other organization, and they are they're supporting their family. So they're in home right now and they can do anything and they need financial support. I hope we can do something online for them too, so they can work like before, like people they're all like the Corona times. A lot of people, they just was in the home and they work, they continue their works. So I hope we can do this for them, because I'm receiving always a lot of calls and the people they're asking about this. We are in home and we can do anything. We are really in bad situation. We need financial support. We are ready to work, maybe online, maybe in home. Can some people send us? We will try to make it in home. Then we send. I think for financial support, we need to work something like this. We can make like a lot of the people, they have some talents, so we can make some factory, a small thing, and we send to the home and they can make it and send it to that factory. Actually, we have a sample in India, a lot of factory in India, especially for like clothes. They are sending for different village, and the people, they are like working in the home and they are sending the product to the factory and they are selling for other country. Yeah. Like this, we have a lot of sample. We can help them financially and they can continue their life. Because, you know, in this 2 or 3 months in Afghanistan, just 5% of Afghanistan, they have food to eat. 95%, they don't have anything. It's really, really bad situation for people. We should work, help them, support them and financially.
I'm glad you mentioned the food security crisis that's unfolding in Afghanistan, because we're talking about how to support women and girls to ensure their education. And, you know, you Hilai, mentioned how to help women businesses working from home and how to also help them get online and sell their products and services. But then we have a more basic need that has to be addressed, and that's basically food insecurity. So what can you do, or how do you think this will be addressed? Because if humanitarian organizations work together to provide assistance, they will have to go through the Taliban. How else would they do it? So what are your thoughts on this?
Actually, about this, it's really a little bit difficult, and we can do these things, but I'm saying some people should be on the ground. Some people should accept this risk and go and work on the ground, because it's not, we can do everything online, because we need some people to be in Afghanistan and try to work on it and make this things in the ground to like they can work together, because it's not possible we could organize everything online. So I think at the first we should find those people that really want to start, and we can maybe like before in 20 years ago we had a lot of people there worked with women and ladies organization, but highly, and they was unprofiled in the society, but they work. So also we can, because we have this experience, we should do this like this. Some people, we have the ladies and other women that are still in Afghanistan, they can do it. it doesn't, we don't need it to, they come in the society and say, okay, I have this, I'm working with this organization. But we can choose person and like send the proposal and everything, how we should start. Then we can find other people. And also, but still I'm saying some people should go back and be on the ground.
Marwa, what are your thoughts on this?
On the starvation, well, I think that not until we don't have a government, nothing's gonna help. If you don't have a government, how can you support people?
Right.
And accepting Taliban as the government is not an option either. With the rules they've set, it's not an option. So I guess the only thing that the US government or the Canadian government or all the organization can do is support the resistance front. My father joined it and lost his life protecting his people. And I know that there are people in that Panjshir still fighting so that our people can be free. And why not just help them? If they receive help, they can do so much. Our people are strong. They don't want to live in chains. They want freedom. And if you support them, they will get that freedom.
Yeah. That's a very important point. But you also mentioned that there have to be channels of communication with the Taliban. So, so you believe that resistance movement, and that's a peaceful movement, should be supported, but at the same time, channels should be open in order to ensure that that there will be negotiations, right, with the Taliban, and that's not easy for someone like you or someone like Hilai to talk about and to support, precisely because of what they've done so far and how their gains and their victory has affected your lives. So thank you for your openness and thank you for your courage on this particular issue. I would like to ask you with just one last question, a very simple one. If there's one thing that you want our audience to know, and our audience is global, but primarily focused on the United States, what is the one thought you want to leave our audience with?
From my side, at the first, I want to ask all people around the world, please don't accept Taliban governments, please. Because we know them, we live 20 years with them. They killed a lot of my people. They killed the fathers, mothers, children's, daughters. Actually, in this 20 years, we was free, but we were in the fear and scared and like a lot of other risks in Afghanistan. But still, we worked, we tried. We suffer all those bad days. So now please don't accept their government and support my people so we can get our country back. We have people, they're working in all the city with Jabha and with Panjshir, with Ahmad Masood, with other people. They're working to take back Afghanistan and we can like have our country again. So please support them, because we are also the ladies, they are stand up and from around the world and they are supporting this group. So they are working in different cities, not just Panjshir or like Kabul. They are working in all Afghanistan. So we need to support them, because they are not just working to fight with Taliban. They are supporting the people like financially. They are sending some food for them. They are working as they are supporting in education. They made some home school for them, and everything they can do, they are supporting. So we need to support these people.
Thank you. Marwa?
I just want to add that there is hope for Afghanistan, contrary to what people would think, that there is hope. I don't know about the other generations, but our generation is the one who really want to work, is the one who have really tried hard. If they're given the opportunity, they cannot change only Afghanistan, they can change the world. I mean, I have friends who would want to become astronauts or scientists, things our mothers would not have dreamed of and would not have imagined. But we we actually think it's possible for us to do that. So if given the opportunity, there is hope for Afghanistan. We just need some support.
I agree with you 100%. I think just talking to you for the past 30 minutes has given me so much hope. I'm very inspired by our conversation. Sorry again for your losses, and keep on doing the great work that you're doing. Use your voice, speak up, and thank you again for your time and for your commitment to Afghanistan. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.